Hello YouTube, this is Jeff. Just wanted to give a quick update on my second build here on the new rocket stove I'm building. Got some time last night, a few hours when I come home, and just kind of come out here, turn the radio on, zoned out, and started building this thing. And I've had some problems with my phone and shooting video, so never really give a thought about taking any video of it. And anyways, I worked out here for a while, shut the garage down and went in the house and realized I locked my keys out here in the garage. So I started digging around in my drawers and stuff, trying to find my spare set of keys, and run across this little electronic gizmo that I'm shooting video with now. It's called an iPod Touch number 4. Probably been sitting in my sock drawer for at least a year and a half, maybe 2 years. I received it as a gift somewhere along the lines, and anyways, I put it on the charger overnight. What caught my attention on the packaging of it, has like a little, I don't know, kind of a cardboard cutout, and it has pictures on it, and in the upper right hand corner it had the word camera and a little icon on it. So charged it overnight, turned it on this morning, and man, I tell you what, I've never dealt with anything electronically as aggravating as one of these to get set up and actually usable. I probably fiddled around with this thing for an hour and a half, if not more, just getting it where you can actually use something on it. But anyways, we're gonna try to shoot a little bit of video with it, post it. I just wanted to kind of see the audio and video quality of it, and if it's decent, I'll start using this to shoot my videos with. So we'll give her a go, see what happens. But I just want to give you a quick walkthrough what I got going on so far. I know I've got a lot of it already built and packed together, but I can explain some of what's going on. Obviously the feed tube and the chimney inside, all of that is already welded together. So the only thing that's really changed, if you go back and look at my first videos that I built on this, really the only thing that has changed, obviously not only the physical size. I went with the full 100-pound cylinder, and this one I cut obviously about probably 12-14 inches out of it. Why? I have no clue, but that's what I've done. I think it had something to do with the measurements. I was talking to somebody, and they had made somewhere I come up with 18 inches as far as the stack height on the chimney inside of this goes. So I think I ran with that dimension, and by the time I left my space in between this and fit it all together, this is what I come up with. So this one I used header wrap on the inside around the pipe, 2 layers. On the inside of this one I used Kevin's idea of the perlite. So over this 4-inch, this obviously this 4-inch tube goes back, makes a 90-degree, and then comes up 20. This one I made 24 inches with, you know, probably a 2 or 3 inch gap between the top of the chimney and the top of the stove. So what I done with this, I went and purchased a regular 8-inch stovepipe. I think they're 36 inches in length, and a 90. Now, apparently all the new 90s they make, including the 4-inch that I put up here, the 90s, when you buy them, are straight, and you can manipulate them. They're, I think, like 4 pieces. And some of them's cut on an angle. Well, I think all 4 of them's cut on an angle, and you can actually manipulate these things into like a 45-degree angle or a 90-degree angle, or you can use it as a straight coupling, basically. So what I done, I slip that 90 over the 4-inch piece over the top and started manipulating each individual piece till I achieved my 90 down here. Then I took the 36-inch piece and cut a short piece that went from here back, and then used the remaining piece to come up. So I basically have a sleeve with a probably an 1 3/4 to 2 inch diameter all the way around this. This pipe I'm using here is a 4-inch inside diameter, and it's pretty thick walled, so I'm guessing just a hair under 2 inches of space around this 4-inch piece of pipe and the 8-inch stovepipe. So what I done at the bottom, I put it together, tacked it around there, and took my tin snips and snipped all the way around, all probably 1 inch apart, all the way around, and bent those little fingers all the way in around it, so it met the outside of this pipe right here, and slipped the remaining piece over the top, fastened it to the 90, spot welded it, and did the same thing. I cut a bunch of fingers all the way around, and I only bent 4 of them opposite each other. That way I had some space where I could pour my perlite down around it. So, you know, I'd pour some, shake it, pour it, shake it, pour it, shake it, obviously. Packed it in really good, filled it all the way up to the top, and then bent the remaining fingers all the way around the pipe. So everything's good and centered. I guess good enough insulated. I mean, probably about 2 inches of insulate, 1 3/4 to 2 inch space insulated with the perlite all the way around it. And just started cutting on this, and like I said, I went longer. I did all my mathematic figures and stuff and come out with a 24-inch from the bottom of this to the top of the chimney inside here is 24 inches. I'm not even really for sure what this is. I think 20 inches, 19, 20 inches, something like that. This part right here really isn't critical, just as long as you have enough to put your hoppers on for whatever you're burning. So tacked this all together and made a little grate system. I'm doing this obviously a little bit different, which I mentioned in my last video. And I really don't have my dimensions yet here figured out, but this is stainless steel, and basically what I'm going to do is the wood's going to be resting on here, and as you can see it's a lot bigger openings. What I'm having problems with on here, I just went out here real quick. What I'm having problems with on this design is just a piece of stainless, and I drilled some holes in it, and it's holding the ash and the coals on here, and I'm not really getting a good fall through of the ash. And like I said, it works good, and I don't mind cleaning it out. It's out here in the garage. But as I've been burning this over the last probably week and a half, 2 weeks, I'm finding out if I had this in my house, I would have to let the fire burn completely out before I cleaned out the ash. And then it kind of hit me on Kevin's design, why he had his ash shoot out the bottom. I'm thinking, yeah, genius. You know, you can clean all your ash and everything out easily. You can clean it out while it's burning, and that's another flaw I found out in this. And in whatever design you do, you're going to find flaws that you can improve on as you're building them. So, with that being said, I needed a larger area for the ash to actually fall through, and this is going to be the actual basket for the pellets. And as I go along here, this will kind of self-explain through the video. So basically, this tray just slides right in, and I'm going to weld a small stop on the inside where it can't continue past a certain set point. And where, and I'm gonna make it where you can shake. It's gonna be like a shaker grate. You can shake it, but this pellet basket will be welded on where underneath, obviously, where the pellet chute is, and I'll explain that a little bit. Basically, this is the wood hopper here. I built this a little bit heavier. I went with a lot. I'm gonna have to hold this up. Obviously, I don't have a base on it yet. I haven't figured out what I'm gonna do with the base, so obviously it's way front heavy. But I'm gonna have to show you the chutes one at a time because of that. This time I went with a little bit. This is a pre-treated high tensile strength steel. It's a little thicker, and as I explained before, I had a little heating problems with this, overheating I should say, with the pipe getting red hot. So I went with a higher quality steel, and got sticker shock at the steel yard. Wow. That's another whole story in itself. I haven't had to buy my own steel for quite a while. The people I work for usually pre-buy everything that I need. I just give them a list, they buy it, have it on a job site or whatever. So I haven't been out to here at the local steel yard, which they don't sell steel anymore. They'll take in scrap or whatever, but apparently OSHA shut them down a couple of years ago. So I just had to look for another supplier for this. So you can throw what I said on a previous video, building one of these for, you know, 100 to 150 bucks out the window. I will probably have, now granted I went with a better quality steel and a heavier gauge steel. I'm using all, they don't go by inches anymore, it's all gauges. This is 1/4 inch, which is considered, I think, 10 gauge, either 8 or 10 gauge. So it's a real dense, thick, high tensile strength, preheated steel that I'm going to use on this build. So basically, this is 5 inch by 5 inch. I can't buy this. I can't buy any kind of box steel like this locally. Maybe you can. I can't. Already preformed into boxes, so I've got to build all this out of flat stock. So what I've done, I dug around. I kind of come up with a measurement because I'm kind of limited on my box size because of my intake tube size. So I've already had some of this, so I'm going to use it up till it's gone, and then I mean you can build this out. You can build it out of square, rectangle, whatever. It just so happens I had this real heavy, thick-walled 4 inch on hand. I've got, I probably got about 10 or 12 foot of it left, so the stove that I build after this will be using this, and if I build any more after that, who knows, it's going to be whatever I can find as far as material wise goes. So this here, as I explained in one of my previous videos, there's about an inch gap between the actual stove body and the wood hopper. Now this is strictly just for wood, solids, whatever. That's going to set in here. It's 5 inches by 5 inches. I went a little tall on it. I took this 20 inches tall, and so that means I've got 4 inches a height difference between the top of my chimney that's inside of here to the top of this. So it still should draw pretty nice. This one here is actually 5 by 6 inches, and it draws really good too. So shouldn't be a problem with as far as the draw of the air down over the wood. So again, I'm going to make a cap like this one, obviously a little bit bigger, to snap down over the top of it. I'm going to do my air feed totally different. I'm going to put an actual sliding door here on the side with a little knob on it where it'll adjust air and flow down instead of dealing with the top. Sometimes, depending if it's a real windy day or not getting a real good airflow or whatever, with this spinning door on top, I'm getting a little bit of smoke or puffs of smoke every once in a great while out of the top of it. So I'm going to move the air feed to the side and just slide door, real simple, nothing fancy, should work fine. Like I said, 98% of the time this works fine, but just for the oddball little gust of wind, I don't know exactly what's happening, but I'm getting just a small split-second puff of smoke out of here. I don't know really what's causing it, but it's doing it. So moving the door to the side here ought to eliminate that. If it doesn't, I'll just build a small hood over it to catch whatever smoke does backdraft up, and then it'll just kind of re-suck it back down in there. Again, I'm total novice at this. This is just all guesswork at best. So, anyways, that's the for the wood. And the pellet hopper here I have marked, just kind of mocked up, and there's a little small hole slit in the top of this. It's just going to fit down in there, and that's going to correlate into the little basket. I'm just going to put a little sliding handle with just a block off. As you can see, just the small opening here. It's probably about probably about an inch and a quarter by an inch or something like that opening. Doesn't need to be very big. But that's going to pop in there. I'll weld around it, and there's going to be about a ½ inch gap between the wood hopper there and the pellet hopper here. Probably just weld a couple little tabs here on top, weld the bottom, should suffice. Like I said, these things are really heavy. It's real thick, you know. It's really the only thing I had available that they would sell me. So I kind of had to go with whatever I could get here local in town. I didn't want to have to drive all the way up to Dayton. You know, it's an hour drive, waste gas, and I could have probably saved a little bit of money on the steel, and probably could have found maybe some pre-made stuff, but honestly, gas is, I think, $3.50, $3.60 a gallon here right now, and even if I took my Toyota up, it's still a few gallons of gas. So I just went ahead and bought what I could, and I'm going to run with it on this one, and it should work out pretty good. So again, I'm just going to have another one of these here on the top. I'll snap over it. No air feed whatsoever is going to be necessary on the pellets, because it's kind of a one-way deal. They're going to go down, drop in this little basket, and burn. So it should, if I'm thinking right, if this works out how I want it, I can burn just the wood, I can burn just pellets, or I can burn both of them at the same time and hopefully get a longer burn time. What I'm ultimately shooting for, since this is going to be in a house installation, that I can get more than 5 or 6 hours of burn time without having to fool with this thing. So my reasoning is, when I first light it up, the wood should burn pretty quick, and then the pellets will feed slowly. After this comes up to temperature, it'll get real, it'll burn real hot for probably, I'm guessing, about 2.5, 3 hours, maybe a little bit more, since my wood hopper's a little bit bigger than this one. So, and it's going to be burning pellets at the same time. So probably the first 2.5, 3 hours, it's going to generate a lot of heat. And then after the wood burns and consumes itself all the way down to ash, then the pellets should continue to feed for several more hours at a lower, it'll still be burning pretty hot, but not putting out quite as much heat, and it should last a lot longer. Again, this is all theory. I don't know if it's going to work like that or not. Who knows? I guess time will tell. Once I get everything, up and running, we'll see what happens. Also, down below here, I'm going to cut a big square out of the bottom of this and come down several inches, maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 inches out of the bottom. And then I'm going to put a sliding door on this box. It's going to be all welded on. I'm going to put a sliding door where I can put my bucket up underneath of it, pull the door, ashes fall down into the bucket. I can slide the door back all while this thing is burning. So before I had to rig, I've got this little handle with a little half moon shape thing in it where I've got I have to take the stainless steel grate out of this, put this thing in, rake out the coal or the ash into a bucket out of the front of it. Out here in the garage, I don't mind it because this thing's only burning for a few hours at a time. I probably only load it 2 or 3 times while I'm out working here, on the weekends or the evening. So that goes out, not a big deal. Hypothetically, this thing will, in the wintertime, dead of winter, it's burning basically 24/7. You're wanting a constant heat output. It's not going to be burning full tilt, but you're still going to want to keep a fire. You don't want to have to let this thing burn completely out, clean all the ashes and everything out, and then have to relight it again. So with the ashtray coming out of the bottom, kind of self-explanatory. You can have all this raging, burning away. Takes 4 or 5 seconds to pull the door out, push it back, all your ashes dump out. That's why I wanted to kind of keep this as a kind of a shaker thing. You can kind of shake and, you might get a few hot coals down it or whatever, but again, hypothetically, it should work pretty good. I really don't know what I'm going to do with the exhaust on this. I've seen a few videos, and on this one, I kept the exhaust port level with this 4-inch tube, because somewhere along the lines either somebody said it or it's just something I've observed or seen, but I think somebody said to either keep your exhaust port either the same height or higher than your feed tube going in. But I've seen a couple other videos that's out there where the exhaust port is not only down lower than this, some of them's actually coming out of the bottom, completely out of the bottom. So I think I might do some experimenting with that. I don't know. It's easy to patch a 4-inch. I mean, I'm using 4-inch exhaust, so it'd be easy to cut out a hole, and if it doesn't work, I'll weld it, patch it back in. But obviously, the lower you get your exhaust on this, and it will still draw, the cooler it will be as far as the pipe temperature goes. And also, you should get more heat out of this instead of going up and out the chimney. So I'm going to try to experiment with lowering the exhaust and see what kind of a draw I get. This on the small one, it's dead even with it, and like I said, you stick a torch in the front of it, throw some wood in the top, it's off and running. I mean, it lights immediately. Gets a real good draw, but I notice if I'm burning real long periods of time with really good wood instead of junk wood, I notice this is getting a little warm. It's still not discoloring any, and the paper sticker is still down at the elbow, but it is getting a little bit warm. So on this one, I've got the area. This one's right down on the ground. It's basically this is right at the bottom. This is obviously higher, which I wanted to make it that way because, again, this is a house installation. I wanted to keep the heat up off the ground as much as possible. So anyways, I've got the room to play with it, so I'm going to play with the exhaust a little bit. Like I said, if it doesn't work, no big deal. I'll weld the hole up, move it up, in increments and see what happens. So that's kind of where it stands. I really wanted to shoot a video of what the inside of this looks like, but like I said, I didn't really have anything. I tried with my telephone a couple, 3 times, and the video just won't work on it for some reason. But like I said, I just kind of zoned out, and when I realized I locked my keys in the car, that's when I found that little iPod thing, whatever it is, and seen it had the capabilities to shoot video and take pictures. So just wanted to shoot this quick update and see how the audio and video quality is on that. Just tell me if it's a thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever. I'll go just end up biting the bullet and going and buying a decent video camera. So at least you don't have to look at me shaking. I know I watch some of my videos and they're aggravating. I just, when I'm talking and holding the camera, I'm just, wherever I'm looking, I'm moving the camera to, so I know it's aggravating. So hopefully this is a little bit more, or a little less aggravating and a little bit more informational, instead of me bobbing the camera and stuff everywhere. So that's where I am. Hopefully I can get this thing done if I can get a couple hours in the next few days to kind of wrap this up. I just got to come up with a base on it, weld the hoppers on, and finish welding the seams and everything up on it, and making a couple doors, which is not really a big deal, but it should be be ready to fire it up and get burning, and we'll see how this one does, and give you an update, and shoot some more video once it's together and burning, and I can tell you if the exhaust is working or not, down low, up high, and just in general how it's burning. So this is Jeff. Thanks for watching. Have a great evening, and I'll talk to you later.